Some of these moments nearly caused riots. One destroyed a friendship. One changed wrestling forever. And one might have destroyed an entire company. Today, I'm counting down the top 10 most iconic heel turns in wrestling history. The betrayals, the chair shots, the moments that made arenas go silent or explode. I'm PlantShot, and whether you agree with this list or not, I promise it's going to spark a debate. Let's get into it.
Number 10.
Number 10 on the list occurred at WWE Survivor Series 1998, The Deadly Game. By 1998, The Rock wasn't just a wrestler, he was a pop culture icon. That's what makes this heel turn so memorable. The Rock defeated Mankind at Survivor Series 1998, but not clean. Vince McMahon orders the bell rung as soon as Rock puts Mankind in a sharpshooter. Mankind never tapped. The crowd realized what just happened. They've seen this before. It's the Montreal Screwjob all over again. Overnight, the massively popular People's Champion turned his back on the people and embraced Mr. McMahon as the corporate champion. And here's why this worked. The Rock didn't stop being charismatic, he just weaponized it. The crowd didn't stop loving him, they just loved to hate him. In that corporate Rock run, one of the greatest heel evolutions ever. And if you think that was shocking, number 9 gets personal. Number 9. Next on the list took place at NXT TakeOver R Evolution 2014. During this time, Sami Zayn was the heart and soul of NXT as the beloved babyface chasing a title, only to be denied time and time again. After vowing to leave NXT if he came up short, Zayn finally earned his opportunity. A rematch for the NXT Championship at NXT TakeOver R Evolution 2014 against the man known then as Adrian Neville, now recognized as Pac in AEW. That same night, Sami's lifelong best friend Kevin Owens made his NXT debut by defeating CJ Parker. Owens and Zayn had risen through the industry side by side. They built their careers together on the independent scene, from Ring of Honor to PWG. Later that night, Sami does it. He wins the NXT Championship. The crowd erupts, absolute chaos inside Full Sail. Fans on their feet chanting his name as he stands in the center of the ring, tears in his eyes, holding the title high above his head. The locker room empties. NXT talent floods the ring to celebrate. And right there beside him is his lifelong best friend, Kevin Owens. It's a picture-perfect moment, a career-defining triumph. Until it isn't. Out of nowhere, Owens explodes, driving Zayn into the ring apron with a brutal powerbomb. The crowd gasps, confusion turns to horror, officials rush in, and Owens doesn't stop. He powerbombs Sami again, and again. Zayn is left motionless, eventually carried out on a stretcher, while Owens walks away stone-faced, a betrayal that instantly ignites one of the most emotionally charged and deeply personal rivalries in modern wrestling history. In one night, NXT proved it could tell stories just as compelling and just as brutal as the main roster. And if that betrayal was personal, the next one was inevitable. A heel turn years in the making. The moment Roman Reigns finally became what the fans always believed he was. Number 8. Roman Reigns was the big dog. WWE painted him as a hero, but the fans rejected it. They would often boo him at major events. Then he took a leave of absence during the pandemic. At SummerSlam in August 2020, Roman Reigns returned, attacking the newly crowned Universal Champion, The Fiend Bray Wyatt. Reigns was a completely different character, cold, deliberate, and on a mission. On the following SmackDown, Reigns chose Paul Heyman as his new manager, solidifying his heel turn. And at Payback 2020, Reigns inserted himself into the main event and won the Universal title in a triple threat match between Braun Strowman, Bray Wyatt, and himself. Reigns literally waited to sign his contract for the match until after it had begun. He actually signed it while he walked to the ring. This was the start of Roman's historic 1,316-day reign as Universal Champion. This was the birth of the Tribal Chief. And here's the key. Roman didn't change alignment, he changed identity. It redefined his career, launched the bloodline, and carried SmackDown creatively for 3 years. For years, Roman was positioned as the guy. In 2020, he finally became it. Feels like Roman was sort of always a heel. Yes, his character turned heel, but the crowd already hated him even as the big dog. Sometimes the best heel turn is the one that was inevitable. But not every heel turn is destiny. Some feel like betrayal of something pure. And in 2019, one of WWE's most beloved heroes finally snapped. Number 7. Bayley was innocence in wrestling form. Bayley wasn't just a babyface. She was an idol to children, to fans who grew up with her. Hugs, The ponytail, the inflatable tube men, the Bayley buddies. Bayley and Sasha, the Boston Hug connection, made history at Elimination Chamber 2019 as the first ever women's tag team champions. And just 49 days later at WrestleMania, it was all gone. That same year, on September 2nd, 2019, Bayley and Sasha attacked Becky Lynch with the steel chair. This marked the first time in Bayley's career that she had turned heel. On the October 11th episode of SmackDown, Bayley used a DIY weapon straight out of a horror movie to batter her inflatable tube men, dubbed the Bayley Buddies, on her way to the ring. She didn't just turn heel, she destroyed the very symbol of who she used to be. After that, no more ponytail, no more Bayley Buddies, and fans didn't receive any more free hugs. The shift was visual, immediate, and symbolic. For lifetime fans, it was like watching their childhood end in real time. But long before Bayley shattered her image, there was a betrayal that defined tag team breakups for generations. A single super kick that launched a Hall of Fame career.
Number 6.
In 1991, the Rockers, consisting of Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, were one of WWE's most beloved teams. But behind the scenes, cracks were forming. The tension exploded on an episode of The Barbershop, WWE's in-ring talk show hosted by Brutus the Barber Beefcake. At the time, WWE programming was pre-taped. The segment was taped in December of 1991 and aired in January of 1992. Michaels and Jannetty are arguing side by side when Jannetty suggests they get back on the same page. Michaels extends his hand, Jannetty accepts, and then super kick! From the announce desk, Bobby the Brain Heenan says, "Oh, I knew he was going to do that!" Michaels picks Jannetty up and propels him toward the barbershop window. Jannetty dives through the window. The crowd is stunned. A lady screams off camera. That moment created the Heartbreak Kid. One kick, one segment, one Hall of Fame singles career. Meanwhile, Jannetty struggled to find the same success as a single star. One super kick rewrote both of their legacies. Sometimes betrayal doesn't end a career, it begins one. The barbershop changed 2 careers, but decades later, a betrayal wouldn't just change a career, it would rewrite 20 years of loyalty.
Number 5.
John Cena turning heel in 2025 wasn't just a moment, it was the end of an era. For over 2 decades, Cena was the face of WWE, the franchise, the merchandise machine, the man who told us all to hustle, stay loyal, and never give up. He survived boos, he survived Cena sucks chants, he survived an entire generation begging him to turn heel. And he never did. Until he did. At Elimination Chamber on March 1st of 2025, in a moment that felt almost surreal, Cena did something fans had fantasy booked for years. After winning the Elimination Chamber match, Cena was joined in the ring by Cody Rhodes to celebrate the win. The celebration gets interrupted. The stadium speakers ring out with Travis Scott's Fiend. The crowd hesitates. Then The Rock steps out, the final boss. And suddenly, this isn't a celebration anymore. It's a summons. The Rock and Travis Scott walk to the ring together. The week before, The Rock had asked Cody Rhodes to give him his soul, and he inferred that if Cody agreed, he would receive the push of a lifetime. Cody delivers the line in response, "Hey Rock, go fuck yourself." Pat McAfee from the announce desk shouts, "One of the most shocking things I've ever heard said in the history of saying things." Cena hugs Cody as if to say he supports his decision. The Rock makes a slashing motion across his neck, the universal signal. Without warning, Cena delivers a low blow to Cody. Cena grabs Cody's own Rolex, the one his father gave him, and uses it as a weapon. A brutal beating ensues. Cody is left bleeding in the middle of the ring. Michael Cole says dejectedly from the announce desk, "Why does he need to sell out?" There was no confusion about what this meant. The hero was done being the hero. The crowd reaction wasn't just loud, it was confused, stunned. Cena betrayed a generation. But sometimes the most painful betrayals aren't about power. They're about friendship. Because long before Cena sold his soul, Triple H shattered his best friends.
Number 4.
This betrayal wasn't about factions. It wasn't about power. It was about real-life friendship, real tension, and broken trust. In June of 2002, Shawn Michaels returned to WWE after a 4-year hiatus. The crowd welcomed him back like a legend reborn. Weeks later, Degeneration X teased a reunion. Triple H joined Michaels in the ring. The nostalgia was undeniable. They went to throw up the DX Suck It taunt when suddenly Triple H delivered a pedigree to Michaels. The crowd gasped. Triple H stands over his best friend, expression cold. 2 weeks later, Michaels is found in a parking lot, head smashed through a car window. When Shawn Michaels names Triple H as the attacker, he responds, "You're damn right it was me, Shawn." What followed was one of the most violent rivalries of the ruthless aggression era. An unsanctioned war at SummerSlam, blood, sledgehammers, and finally, a brutal 3 stages of hell match at Armageddon 2002. What started as nostalgia ended in destruction and the rebirth of Triple H as a ruthless, calculating villain. In 2002, one pedigree ended a friendship. In 2014, one chair shot ended an empire.
Number 3.
This wasn't a heel turn, it was an execution. The night Brotherhood died. After defeating Kane and the New Age Outlaws in a 6-man tag match at WrestleMania 30, the Shield members were on top of the wrestling world. They were united and they were untouchable. Every time their music hit, arenas exploded. 3 men walking through the crowd, not as individuals, but as a unit. Triple H had reformed Evolution at the time. Randy Orton, Batista, and himself. When Batista left WWE, Triple H announced he had a plan B. On June 2nd, 2014, the Shield stood in the ring together. Then, in a moment no one truly believed would happen, Rollins assaulted Reigns with a steel chair from behind, and then repeatedly assaulted Ambrose. Fans chanted, "You sold out! You sold out!" The reveal was brutal and immediate. Plan B was Seth Rollins. On a later Raw, Rollins called it a business decision. Ambrose called him the cancer in the Shield, and Reigns said he had committed the most unforgivable sin. One chair shot ended the Shield, and 3 separate legacies began. A Brotherhood shattered in 2014, but in 2001, the unthinkable happened. The hero sold his soul.
Number 2.
This wasn't betrayal. It was sacrilege. It felt like treason. In 2001, Stone Cold Steve Austin aligned with Vince McMahon to the surprise of all wrestling fans. From the moment Stone Cold arrived in WWE, his no-nonsense attitude and his willingness to flip off authority made him an instant icon. He blatantly defied Mr. McMahon on a regular basis. It was the defining rivalry of an era. The blue-collar hero versus the corporate tyrant. At WrestleMania X7, The Rock and Stone Cold met in a no disqualification main event. And that night, it seemed Austin had a new ally. Vince McMahon blatantly interfered in the match on Stone Cold's behalf, offering him a steel chair. Steve Austin eventually used the offered chair to hit The Rock 16 times and pin him for the win. The fans must have truly felt as though Austin had sold his soul to the devil. After the match, Stone Cold shook hands with Mr. McMahon in the ring and shared a beer with him, leaving the 67,000 plus fans shocked and confused. The hero of the Attitude Era had aligned with the very man he spent years fighting. In that instant, rebellion shook hands with power. With the single handshake, everything their rivalry stood for collapsed, and the landscape shifted permanently. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for, the most iconic heel turn in wrestling history. That handshake stunned 67,000 plus fans. The next betrayal split the industry in half.
Number 1.
There's only one choice for number 1. It involved wrestling's biggest superstar and forged the most legendary heel group wrestling has ever seen. I am, of course, talking about when Hulk Hogan revealed himself as the 3rd member of the NWO. In May of 1996, the rivalry between WCW and WWE was just heating up. On May 27, 1996, Scott Hall, freshly released from the WWE, hopped the guardrail in street clothes during an episode of WCW Monday Nitro. He grabbed a microphone and famously declared, "You people, you know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here." 2 weeks later, Kevin Nash made his return to WCW alongside Scott Hall. The two demanded a 3-on-3 match at the upcoming Bash of the Beach pay-per-view, but they only had 2 men present. Questions arose instantly. Who was the 3rd man? On June 16th, WCW Vice President Eric Bischoff demanded that Hall and Nash tell him who the 3rd person was, and in return, he received a powerbomb from Kevin Nash. Now, at the time, and for over a decade, Hulk Hogan wasn't just a babyface, he was the face of the industry. He preached American values. Say your prayers and eat your vitamins, brother. He was loved by America. On July 7th, 1996, at Bash of the Beach, the main event was Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and a mystery 3rd man versus Team WCW, Randy Savage, Lex Luger, and Sting. Late match, Hogan walks to the ring as if to help Savage. Bobby the Brain Heenan says from the announcer's table, "Whose side is he on?" Dusty Rhodes, also working as announcer at this point in his career, retorts in his classic Southern twang, "What are you talking about?" Hogan enters the ring. The crowd cheers. For a moment, you think the hero has come to save the day. When all of a sudden, he delivers a leg drop to Macho Man Randy Savage. The crowd erupts into a chorus of boos. Trash rains from the sky. It seems the fans are throwing anything they can get their hands on. Hogan then delivers an iconic promo that declares, "You can call this the New World Order of Wrestling, brother." And then, "You fans can stick it." The industry changes overnight. The Monday Night Wars explode. Hollywood Hogan is born, and wrestling enters a new era. After that leg drop, wrestling was never the same. That's my list of the top 10 most iconic heel turns in wrestling history. Now I want to hear yours. What would you change? Did I miss one? Is your number one completely different? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. If you're into wrestling debates, deep dives, and the moments that shape the industry, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss the next video. I'm PlantShot, and in wrestling, there's always another take. I'll see you in the next one.